Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kirishima here. Now then, the battles have begun. And exactly what is going to happen for Deku? This is going to be a very large challenge. Now, Deku, he is just thinking, as he decides to look around. He looks around and immediately jumps upwards and grabs onto a tree, as he begins to swing through. He thinks that if this is exactly what's going to happen, then he just needs to stay off the ground. But if that's the case, there's also going to be more and more traps. So exactly how will this go? Now, Deku, he would have felt something weird, because as soon as he goes to grab the vine this time, it felt like it moved. But that's not right. Now, Deku wouldn't have thought much of this, as the tree next to him would have exploded, catching his full attention. Now, Deku would have turned to look at this, and somewhat look around. There's nothing on the ground. He turns and begins to run. As for the next couple hours, the entire place is exploding. Over and over and over again. There might as well be strafing runs. This place is just that barbaric. Now, time would pass and things would die down, as the Marines would announce that it is the beginning of a new day. Now, there are still too many of you remaining. We have had some taken down and restrained, and we have removed them. But we have had little casualties, which is good. Now, continue. Now, Deku, he is still waiting. He would actually start running around once more. The area does seem to be, well, at least feel a bit safer. Most of the traps have been activated. Now, while Deku's running, he would hear somebody, as he just dives downwards. He does so and begins to scurry and actually climb underneath a rock, or at least what looks to be a giant open cavern in the ground. He's able to get in there, but he seems to be a bit too large, so he starts by moving around and actually covering his arms in mud, tearing off some leaves and actually putting them onto his arms to at least camouflage himself, as Momo would have come by. She's holding up a sword and a bow staff in the other hand, along with the bow staff actually being able to produce electricity. So she's clearly not messing around. Now, Deku would have revealed himself, which would freak out Momo quite a bit, since she actually was not paying attention to him. He really does know how to blend in. Now, Deku would just say that he's not looking to a fight. If anything, he's looking to get out of this together. Listen. There needs to be 100 brothers and 100 sisters. More than enough room for both of us to survive. I just need a hand. And she would just ask why she's supposed to help him. Now, this is whenever a loud sound can be heard, as these two would both look up into the air. There is a package on the way down, along with their signal actually being pinged, over and over and over again. Deku, he would just look at Momo for a second as she would have taken off running in that direction, dropping her sword. But, well, that's not really anything to matter, since there's probably guns in that crate. Now, this is where Deku, he would hear something else, as his signal gets pinged again. This time it's closer, as random dots begin appearing all over the map, and they are being pinged by every single one. Deku would have stopped yelling Momo, as she would be confused, looking at her compass, finding that there's one not even 100 feet away from them. They just have to get up to that cliff. As the two would begin, Deku immediately running over and beginning to climb on. His arms and legs are long enough to where he is actually able to climb up it fairly fast. While Momo, she immediately created climbing equipment and was able to jump upwards. These two being able to match each other in speed. Deku basically running upwards and pulling off the top of the crate, with nothing but sheer strength, as he would have grabbed the weapon inside, and turned to Momo, telling her that he offered her a hand. Now, as he would just look inside the crate, tossing her a weapon, saying that he expects her to at least keep word and don't shoot him. Which she would just look down at this, saying that she can do that, as she pulls back the bolter and loads around into the chamber. Deku asking her where Kirishima is, to which she would say that she lost her sometime around them entering. Then again, she kinda did walk into a landmine. She what? Yeah. She walked into one, but she was hardened, so she probably just smashed into a wall or through a couple trees. Hopefully. As Deku would just ask where she was last seen. She would just point that way. Now, she would say that if he is going that direction, she's gonna head another. Probably protect the crates and try and get anyone who tries to come to it. Plenty of weapons and her quirk she can make enough ammo. Deku just staring at her for a second, saying that that's not the way to fight. The way to fight, you have to be up close, be able to take on the challenge and take them down. Deku hearing a voice in the back of his head, throwing it to the wind, saying that you have to be able to do what you need to, as he would be walking away. Momo bringing the gun upwards, aiming it at Deku's back. She thinks that if she takes the shot now, she can, well, save trouble. If he takes her down soon or tries to take her down, then that would be a big problem. Then again, he could have already killed me, as she would lower the weapon, thinking that he will at least be useful as an ally. As she would turn to her left, immediately firing. Someone has come after the package, but they are swiftly taken care of. Now, over with Deku. Deku begins to run through the jungle and actually jump around and get around a few trees. He's basically moving through them like how Gran Torino would be moving through a regular place. Jumping around and actually keeping up speed. He would be going through the jungle as he would have found Kirishima. She actually might be injured, but Deku can't really tell, since she's just, well, there's a hole in the ground, and it's quite a big one. Then there's the mountain that she's in. She's roughly about 20 to 30 feet up in the air, in the side of a mountain. Now, Deku would have seen this, as he would start climbing upwards, being able to grab onto it and actually touch her arm, as she would have immediately opened her eyes and go to smash him in the face. Deku being able to dodge out of the way as he somewhat just holds onto the cliff, saying that he's here to help. Sorry. Jesus. You were trying to trick me, right? Yeah, I thought you were. Never mind. Anyways, as Deku, he would just hold at the strap, saying that he has this. Her looking downwards. The weapon is attached to a band. Now, she would just ask if he has one for her. Him saying no, but Momo is guarding the crate. They need to get there now, as Deku would have pulled her out of the mountain. Her unhardening her body, as she would somewhat start coming downward with Deku. These two getting things ready. As they would be ambushed. They hear rapid gunfire as Kirishima she would immediately bring up her arms, hardening both of them, hardening them as much as she can, as a bullet would hit her and somewhat deflect off of her. Deku immediately just pushing her out of the way and jumping to his right. Now, this has been the ambush that Deku didn't really expect, as he would hold up his gun and begin to fire it in that direction. Kirishima looking down at her arm. Whatever happened, apparently her skin does harden. She's been trying to figure this out. If she hardens her skin, it can get to a certain point, and that's all fine and good. But if she hardens it in a certain pattern, she notices that it gets tougher and actually more like the ceramic armor the Marines wear. So she's been trying to focus on doing that. A part of her arm was able to harden to the point of unbreakable mode, but she doesn't really know unbreakable mode yet. She just knows that her arm can get really, really hard in that one place. It basically being what stopped the bullet from killing her and deflecting it. And she has a large gash across her arm. Deku being able to see that. As he would begin firing, and he would begin by grabbing the extra clip he has, loading it into the bolter, and immediately looking over to her. He would throw this over to her as he would say that she needs to get out of here. He can get their attention. Her asking exactly how. Deku grabbing this rock that he's hiding behind. He begins to try and pick it up. She watches him struggle for a second as he would have done so, bringing his body downwards as he would run forward, blocking and actually taking on most of the gunfire, as he would have pushed the rock outwards as hard as possible. As soon as that happens, the gunfire, it stops. Whoever had this gun in their hand, it got crushed by the force. Them having to catch the rock, and not having time to drop it. Deku being able to move forward and immediately push on it. These two struggling as Deku would begin trying to throw kicks into this person. As these two would both back away, the rock falling onto the ground. Deku running forward and throwing out a left hook. The person immediately swiping upwards with a blade, slashing Deku across the face. They were able to get underneath they got close to underneath Deku's right eye, but they got lower down and upwards toward the bridge of Deku's nose. Deku being able to back away and get some distance on this. What they just did was quite tricky. He didn't even really see it. So, now, Kirishima would immediately shout for Deku to move, as Deku would turn to see her immediately hold the gun, as he can hear her firing it. Deku dodging to his right as she fills the sky with bullets. Now, after that happens, Deku would have been able to turn seeing her, as she's just staring at the body. A bit horrified with what she just did, thinking that was wrong. She just killed her brother, or one of her brothers. Deku walking over, pulling her up from the ground, saying that she needs to be, more focused. Listen. Yes, you just killed him. But you know how this goes. It's a hunt. Something and someone is going to die. As long as we stick together and try and focus, we may survive. Do you know where Ochako is now? I'm trying to find everyone. She's probably with that one girl. What one girl? Well, the two work as a team, actually. She's trying to, outlast everyone. She took down half of the females already when we got in. Half? Yeah. There were quite a lot of us. She took down about 70, I believe. So, not a lot of females left. Whenever that quota is filled, I'm pretty sure they're just gonna scoop us all up. Now, Deku would just exactly ask who this girl is, and what is her name, if she's that dangerous. Her responding with Ibara. She seems to be this really religious girl, but she's somewhat sadistic. In battle, she is ruthless. She's fought against her. That is crazy. She is who I actually trained my quirk against. I'd help you fight her, but me and her can counter each other too well. What do you mean? We've been able to fight for days. And they all end in standstills. Oh god. Yeah, it's bad. Deku just thinking that that is the least of his problems. Now, Deku and her would run deeper into the forest, heading back to the weapons crate. Momo, she's standing there as she's basically just firing off into the forest. Deku's a bit confused, as he would watch her just create a magazine in her leg, slam the gun downwards, and pull the bolter upwards. Cocking it back, loading a bullet in the chamber as she begins to fire once again. Deku not even really questioning her. It seems like her quirk, it is a creation one. So exactly how useful does that really make her? It's pretty strong, I'll give her that. As she would just say that she's gonna need him to do something. Let me guess. Ibara? Yup, that bitch. She took out quite a lot of my friends. So, if you see her, give her this. As she would somewhat just toss a grenade over her, out of her left hand. Deku catching it, asking exactly what is it. Let's just call it Weed Killer and leave it at that. Well, now you're just being ominous. As she would turn around walking forward, with the gun in her hand, saying that this is a bit of a special chemical. Apparently on our planet, in space, there is a chemical that, anytime it ignites with anything containing water, it will light on fire. The sisters somewhat like to expose us to this chemical a bit. It will burn on the surface. The pain, however, will be agonizing. You built pain tolerance, right, Midoriya? Yes, I did. Exactly what's your point? Well, the point is, go get her. As she would walk back over to the cliff. As soon as she brings her hands upwards to fire, she would immediately just be grabbed. There is a giant vine as she would start trying to fire at it and actually be able to get it off of her leg, scurrying backwards and upwards into the crate, grabbing into it and turning around with two daggers in her hand, saying that she's here. Shit. As Deku would run forward. Her and Ochako are together. Before anything can even be said, however, Deku already pulled a pin and threw it at Ibara. These two immediately just being covered and coated in this chemical. Ibara begins to scream out, well, so does Momo. Deku running forward and actually running into the fire, his skin igniting, as he would toss her away. Now, as soon as he tosses Momo away, she would get up, somewhat shaking this off. The fire, it is painful, yes, but it's not exactly what it does. It burns at a low heat, compared to the traditional fires. But it's the pain you feel. As Deku's somewhat standing there, grunting his teeth, running forward and actually going straight for Ibara. As he would take the knife he got off his dead ally, or well, the dead person who cut upwards into his face, slashing at the vines, slashing through them and actually taking off her hair. At least most of it. As he would have done so, immediately holding on to what he can and basically bringing the knife upwards. Telling her if she tries anything, he's basically got her by the ropes. No pun intended. As she's still trying to put herself out. Ochako would run upwards and she would tag Deku on the back. Deku beginning to float upwards, as he would be completely in the air, basically holding onto Ibara's hair. Her telling Ochako to stop that, as she would hit release, and hold a gun upwards to Deku's head, saying exactly who is he. Deku turning his head, her looking straight at him, bringing the gun upwards, saying that she's sorry about that, Midoriya. You know how it is. You know this guy. Yes, actually. As the other two would somewhat make their way down. They all know this guy. So, does anyone mind explaining to me what the fuck is going on here? It's quite simple. We are in combat. This is most challenging. Now, this is one of the Marines just say that they have 70 male slots remaining. Or, well, they have 170 male initiates left alive. They need to hurry. Now, with that, this is where Ibara should begin creating more and more vines, letting her hair grow outwards. Deku would just say that it's best if they split up then. They might be distracted soon, right? Well, yes, but good. Deku turning and running. He likes to hunt on his own sometimes, as Kirishima would know that fire in his eyes. She saw that the day one of their allies died against that monster. She's seen that quite a bit. She thinks that if that continues, Deku might go down the wrong path, as she would somewhat follow him. Deku would have immediately run into the forest, as he would be attacked by 3 people. Deku, hearing this voice in his head, chant for war. As Deku would be able to dodge backwards, kicking his knee upwards into someone's chin, smashing down on their head and actually breaking their nose. Deku being able to bring his hands upwards, smashing into their ears and beginning to punch in their face, as they're heavily disoriented. He just begins to beat into them and take them down over and over again, picking them up and throwing them at his allies. Saying who's next, as Deku's beginning to get him a little bit more bloodlustful, as the two would charge at him with knives. Deku holding up his own and basically slashing upwards at these two, the two being able to back away and dodge. Deku immediately rushing forward as he would have tossed it outwards, jabbing it into one of the guy's arms as he would run forward, punching the guy on his right with his right hand, and actually being able to smash a fist downwards into this wound, with the knife into it, knocking these two over and somewhat incapacitating them. As Deku would make sure they're down for the count, he would pull out his knife, and Kirishima would arrive, seeing these 3. She thinks that that's a bit crazy until she sees that Deku is actually panting heavily. Asking him exactly if he killed them. No, I didn't. I'm trying to hold back, but it's been... As Deku would bring his hand upwards to his head, saying it's been difficult. I keep getting this annoying headache. Kid, you're not going to get rid of me. But you are becoming a worthy warrior. Harness your rage. Harness everything you are. Now, as Deku hears that, he would turn away from her, saying that he wants to be alone. You can't be alone. Listen, you saved me. So I'm at least going to... As Deku would turn, saying that if you say you're going to try and save me, just know that that has long passed, him somewhat calming down, turning away from her saying that he needed saving a long time ago. The church did that for him. Alloquarius. Standing over 3 people who are unconscious and heavily injured. Like some vigilante. Not his style. As he would just drop the blade. Walking deeper in the forest. As Deku would have stepped onto something. As soon as he steps onto it, he would hear a sound, turning to see a log heading straight in his direction. Except there's someone riding on it. This person, they reset the trap, waiting for more people to come by. As Deku would have been hit in the gut, and the person would have immediately grabbed onto his shoulders, pinning him down to the ground, saying that they got him, they got him, they got him. Deku being able to kick upwards and actually smash them up out of his way. As the two would begin to fight. He doesn't know this person's quirk, but clearly they are powerful. They seem to have enhanced strength, somewhat more than his own. So clearly their quirk had something to do with that, right? No, that may just be his... Shit. No time to think on this. As these two would begin to fight. Kirishima watching as Deku would have been smashed through a tree and him getting back up immediately. These two basically fighting around and actually using whatever they can as weapons. Deku once being hit to the ground as he would have been turned and used a giant piece of wood to smack the guy across the face, as he would have been able to also plunge it into one of his shoulders. These two going on a very gruesome battle. Eventually, Momo, Kirishima, Uraka, and Ibara would have been extracted, as quite a lot of the male participants remain. Them watching the battles on the ship. Hours upon hours would go by, as Deku, he is basically battling more and more people. Eventually, the Marines would have just told them that they are narrowing it down to these areas. They will be pumping these ones full of the neurotoxin they produced during their test in a couple minutes. If you don't want to be exposed to that again, I suggest you make your way here. Basically quarantining them to one certain area. Now, they would all arrive, as it's basically 120 people, including Deku. As they would have all begin to fight. They only need to take down 20 people, but a lot of people think that if they take down Deku, they can get extra points, or at least an extra... what seems to be respect, at least. Since he's basically the... well... he's basically a somewhat spoken about rumor. It being spoken that he may be a direct descendant of the Emperor himself. Or at least, that's one of the rumors floating around. One of them being that he quite simply may actually be a maniac. A lucky maniac. Since anything he does that's stupid, it seems to work out for him in the end. Even then, he may also be blessed by something. Blessed by the Lord's light, as some call it. Oh, how wrong they are. Now, Deku would have been overwhelmed, as he begins to get angry. Him actually being picked up and thrown out of the area, as they think that that's done. They were told that this toxin is stronger. It's actually 20 times more potent, so the pain you feel will be agonizing. Now, Momo, Uraka, these two are just watching. Kirishima just still looking at the screen. These two telling her that they kinda just lost him. No, he didn't. He always comes back. As the two would just tell her that that's not really true. They got lucky last time. No, look. As they would see Deku. Deku just standing there holding up his hand to his face. And pinching his nose. As they would watch him run outwards and immediately smash into someone's face. He actually just somewhat fractured their jaw, as he would have also began punching them across it over and over again. As they watched him take his hand away from his face, he would have immediately spit something into them. He took a very deep breath of this toxin. Him spewing it into someone's face would actually piss them off, and send them into this berserker frenzy, their eyes basically turning bloodshot and then beginning to scream. Deku, he begins to actually start fighting once again, as he begins to tear apart and actually start making his way through everyone. At this point, they are all focused on taking down Deku. Deku, he is overcoming some of these odds, as in his head there is one simple thing: honor, bravery, and pride. Now, he would just say that this is quite interesting. You see, I have seen quite a lot of these from you, kid. Now, I will give you the mark of Khorne. As Khorne bestows a mark upon Deku. Deku, he immediately would drop down to his knees as he begins to scream, as the area around his neck somewhat looks on fire. As Deku began tearing away at it, and running forward. Everyone watching this strange symbol appear right next to Deku's pendant, as he would have smashed into someone's face and actually sent them flying. More than usual. Whatever happens sent Deku somewhat crazy. The Marines somewhat watching this. They're not sure what just happened, but that little spark seemed to be... must have been the shine from the sun, correct? No. As they would watch one Marine turn back the recordings, or well, what they're viewing, seeing as it would cut to the point where Deku completely ripped off the area, it showing the mark, as one of them would just say that he's been bestowed and actually marked by Khorne, which would confuse quite a lot of the Marines. They didn't know that he would be this way. They thought that he was a special person, yes, but even then, Khorne's marked more dangerous people in the past. This boy can't really be that way, correct? Now, Deku would continue, as he begins to rip and tear out certain pieces from certain people. Anytime he's able to grab a handful, he would grab out somewhat of a handful of skin and a little bit of flesh whenever he starts to claw around and actually mess with people. At one point, Deku would have been able to actually grab onto someone and actually somewhat mess up their skull by smashing his hands into it as hard as possible and then socking them across the face, picking them up and smashing them into a lot of other people. Deku overcoming his odds. As his rage has not calmed down, it's actually been amplified. Whatever's going on, Deku, he's lost himself. As he would run forward, immediately smash someone in the ground, as he just begins to beat into them over and over and over again, not stopping this time. As this is where the Marines would come down from the ship. Deku cocking his arm backwards to throw out another blow as he would have felt it stop, him immediately turning and actually fighting this Marine. He would go to grab his hand with his other hand as he would somewhat break it apart, or at least snap his wrist, somewhat screaming, turning to face the Marine, who would have immediately socked Deku across the face hard enough to knock him out, as Deku would fall. Them checking on everyone, as they would say that this boy, he has been, well, accepted, but for another reason. Now, those of you who still stand, we will go over what happened. Whoever fell last was possibly even initiated into the Marines. Now, this is where they would continue, basically dragging Deku into the ship and taking him to the medical examiner. Him confirming that this is the mark of Khorne, and it seems to be odd or dangerous. The medical examiner would say that this seems to be quite odd. For this boy to be bestowed the mark of Khorne means that not only has the boy been training, but he may actually have somewhat knowledge about the subject. as Deku would eventually come to. The examiner asking him exactly what does he know about Khorne, which would confuse Deku, him somewhat giving a puzzled look. The man saying that he has his mark, so he's clearly been talking with you. As Deku would just say that he's not sure exactly what he means. The voices in your head. They must be the gods of chaos. The voices. Yes. Have any of them been talking about pride, honor, anger, war? Yes, sir? Ah, god damn it. Was that bad? I've heard four. As the medical examiner's jaw would basically just drop. If Deku has heard four, that means he's not only heard all four, but possibly even has the power of them, which would shock him significantly. Him basically walking out of the room and telling this to the other brothers. Them immediately getting ready for what's going to happen. They need to send Deku away anyways, so they need to send him to a place that they know that he should be fine with, and or possibly know the most. The examiners, or the medical examiner, the apothecary, would walk back in, telling Deku that he has a specialized task and mission. They already had certain places picked out. We are going to be going somewhere not on Earth. So, we need you and the rest of your brothers and sisters to do us favors. The sisters will be here. We will be gone for a while. We have somewhat had the idea to try and search and talk with these brothers or sisters. We're going to be finding the outposts that we've left behind and see exactly where they are. If the outpost closest to us is, well, viable, we will improve and actually see where our tech is lacking. Hopefully, we can get things off our feet once again and increase our space travel time. So, this will be a difficult challenge for not only us, but for you. Sadly, we cannot be left behind, or I cannot be left behind to teach you about this. You must consult the sisters. They will be here to help you and guide you. Now, Deku, he would understand. Him going through the entire conversation, along with actually looking at his neck, and seeing that this mark is there. Basically right on his, well, right underneath the top of his ribcage. Or at least where his ribcage used to be. Now then, they would leave. Deku, he would actually go too, and actually find that Kirishima and everyone he knows, or has met up to this point, have actually passed. Now, with that being said, they are told and instructed by the sisters that they are going to be going to spread the message of the Space Marines. The Adeptus Astaris, they need to at least show that they are to be taken seriously. So, while the Marines are away, we are going to be spreading the message around the world. We have tried this once, however, but it did not work. You all are more skilled and more powerful, showing exactly that we are not to be seen as weak. We will do this for the Emperor, since many people know us to be laughingstocks, as you can call it. Now, as she would just say that they are going to be going back to certain countries, or well, their hometowns, which would shock everyone. Now, Deku, him, and Kirishima, Uraka, Ibara, and Ochako, they would be told that they are going to be going to the town Yue is in, and staying there for quite a while. Getting readjusted to things, and possibly going to that very, very high-class school. Since it will be, well, particularly challenging to get in it. And along with you being quirkless, we can alter your file and explain how it happened. Explain that you could be a late bloomer and you bloomed before you were able to be properly diagnosed by an actual doctor. Your mother may have taken you early. That is what we can say about you. As the sister would somewhat narrow her eyes, staring directly at Deku. She's staring at the pendant around his neck, basically thinking that Deku might not even be worthy of that. The Emperor, he does not smile upon Deku anymore. They just see him as tainted or corrupted. The Marines really should not have even let him, well, live. Now, they do not know exactly what happened to him. They just know that Khorne has gotten his hands on Deku, bestowing him this little gift. So, they don't understand exactly how bad this may be. But Deku and everyone would leave the Himalayas. Them all saying goodbye to each other and basically waving themselves off. The sisters are instructed on how to give the proper implants, along with actually having certain doctors and people who can help them when they need it. So, they will be going back to town with them. Now, they would arrive at the church, as Deku would be slipped into a new school under his real name, along with these four also doing so. Now, anyway guys, that's going to be it for this part, and I do hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.